So Cloudflare is not only responsible for the security of your website, it also can greatly speed up how fast your web pages load. And this can really benefit you in two key areas. SEO being the first one. Google ranks pages that load faster, higher in the search engines. That's been proven. Google's declared this themselves. And the second way is conversions. There's been many third-party tests that show the faster a page loads, or rather the slower a page loads, the lower the conversion rate of that page will be. So Cloudflare is a very powerful tool for speeding up your web page. And the great thing about it is it does it all on the Cloudflare level, on the Cloudflare service. So you don't have to bog down your own site with caching plugins, which take up space and processing power on your own server. So to keep this in mind, I don't use caching plugins on my server. So I have no caching plugins installed on my WordPress. So that's the caveat for this section. If you're using caching plugins, then you may see conflicts using these settings. So you may just want to stick to your caching plugins. Or you can uninstall your caching plugin and just use the Cloudflare settings. It's up to you. They may work in tandem, but expect problems. So the first section is auto minify. So minification is the process where we remove all of the white space that's in a file and just keep all of the only thing we keep is the actual text that's meaningful to the web browser. So I'll show you an example here. Here I'm viewing the source of the CSS file of our test website. So as you can see in here, there's lots and lots of white space. Line endings, space between letters and words, big spaces here in the table of contents, space between every CSS section, and all of this adds to the overall size of this folder, the size of this file, and this entire file is what has to be downloaded by the browser. Now, in and of itself, it's not a great deal, but when it's done thousands of times, then this can really add up and slow down your page load times. So what we can do is we can turn on minification, and that will remove all of the white space from our JavaScript files, our CSS files, and even our HTML files. So by ticking those three boxes, that's exactly what we've just done. Now I'll show you how this works. Going back to our CSS file on our server, reloading it, and you can see now it's the same file being served into our browser, but all of the white space, all of the lines between have been removed. It still makes perfect sense to the browser, but it's a lot smaller, the file now. It's all being served in one go. One big chunk. So that's going to speed up things a lot. And that's done on every CSS file, every JavaScript file, and even within the HTML content of our website itself. So that was minification. That's the first stage of speeding up our website. The Polish, Railgun, and Mirage sections, they're only available to Pro, Business, and Business plans, so you'd need to upgrade and pay. I don't think they're necessary. They're to do with image optimization. So unless you've got a very image heavy website, then you may want to look into the Mirage plugin for that, especially on mobile devices. The Rocket Loader is something we can leverage, and what that does is it's not quite the same as minification. It actually groups together all your different JavaScript files and tries to serve them in as few JavaScript files as possible. This is a great feature. So I turn this on to automatic. You can specify manual, so you can have it exclude certain Java files or tell it which Java files to include. But generally speaking, I run it in automatic, so it will automatically choose which JavaScript files to pull together and try and serve in one or two files. Just select that and it's automatically in place. The final one is a mobile redirect. Now this used to be useful before the advent of responsive themes. So nowadays, if you're not using a responsive theme, and by responsive I mean a theme that can respond to the viewport window that it's being loaded on. So a theme should be able to display itself in a mobile browser, on a phone, in a tablet browser, on an iPad, and in a web browser window on a laptop or a desktop. Most themes nowadays, it's very rare to not have a responsive theme on a site these days, but in the past you could redirect your mobile visitors elsewhere using this. I don't use this. I don't think it's a particularly useful feature these days because you'll be almost certainly be using a responsive theme.